and welcome to the Moviescramble podcast. On tonight, this evening's episode, it's a special preview pod that we're doing for the forthcoming Glasgow Film Festival. It's come round to that time of year again where the cinema elite rock up to Glasgow for 10 days of film festival fun. This year it's a wee bit later, it's just the way that it seemed to work. So the festival itself is running from the 1st until the 12th of March, and officially representing moviescramble.co.uk at the festival is the ever delightful Mary. Mary, how are you doing?
I am so excited that we're back podding. I'm so excited that the film festival's coming up. And of course, I am very cheesered to be representing my favourite Purple M on the red carpet in Glasgow. Got some real home city pride about this festival, so I'm very excited.
Nice one. Yeah, I think this is the first year that since the pandemic, the 2020 festival was a full normal festival because everything basically went to shit about 2 weeks after the festival ended.
I was going to say it was February. That still happened.
Yeah, there was a lot of talk actually at the festival. I was speaking to a few filmmakers and stuff like that, and they were all really concerned because they obviously had a full calendar for the next couple of months, and they were going, don't know what's going to happen. And I remember the various people from the festival themselves were quite concerned because they thought at any time everything could get closed down because the reports were that things were getting worse and worse, and other places were getting shut down at the time. I think it was Italy during that was having real problems. Yeah. So it was kind of wild. But yeah, there was obviously a full festival that year. Two after that, 2021, 2022 were almost back to normal. 2022 was close to it. There was a few omissions which we'll pick up on later on, but yeah, it was getting there. I don't think attendances were quite up to the normal level, but I think they're very hopeful that this year is going to be exceeding in terms of the number of bums on seats at various venues for films. So yes, looking forward to it, definitely am. So the way the film festival works is, as most festivals work, is it's based on strands. You have your various gala performances. In the case of Glasgow, they have an opening and a closing gala, and there are various. There's a main section and there are various other sections. Now we're going to briefly chat about some of those and some of the sort of special events that are going to be happening as well. Just for info, the opening film is a film called Girl, which is a film from Odra Onashile, which is receiving, I believe, its British premiere for that, which is pretty damn good, to be perfectly honest.
That's exciting.
It looks like quite an interesting film about a couple of outsiders who moved to a new city, and obviously all the problems that are involved in that. As with most films that we tend to see at these kind of film festivals that run without a theme, there's an awful lot of misery about them.
Yes. We do love a good cry at the film festival.
Yeah, there's a few laughs, but not very many. Now, in contrast to that, the closing gala is a film called Polite Society, which has been marketed as a sort of a martial arts comedy drama set within the British Pakistani community about a girl who wants to be a stunt woman in films, which looks excellent.
Yeah, it does.
So quite looking forward to that. It's from the creator of We Are Lady Parts, which was a Channel 4, Channel 4 music thing and music comedy thing, which was really good. That was a cracking wee series. It was just last year, so I should be interested. A point to note is that both the opening and closing galas are completely sold out. Now, traditionally what they do is they basically take over the whole of the GFT, GF1, 2 and 3 for the opening gala and the closing gala, and they're all sold out. So
that's pleasing. That's a good sign.
It's very good. Yeah, it definitely is. So that's quite interesting. So, as I say, we have various sections within the festival. There's the main part of it's the official selection festival, which is about 65 films, which comprises of pretty much, it's about 90% of them are brand new. They're European, British, actual world premieres as well, a couple in there, and they cover all sorts of genres, it's all real. It's a real sort of mixed bag, but there's a lot of really interesting stuff in there. So that's where the bulk of your cinema viewing is going to come from there. So what are you looking forward to from this?
Do you know, it was really hard to choose. I love being in the position where you're sitting with, if like me and you like paper and you go and get your brochure from the Glasgow Film Theatre and you sit and you leaf through and then you put the little crosses next to the ones that you really want to go and see. So what jumped out at me straight away is Mark Cousins' My Name is Alfred Hitchcock. I'm obviously a really big Hitchcock fan, and the thought of a 2-hour long documentary where there's, you know, voiceovers and sort of kind of parody things, I thought, that sounds absolutely perfect to me. And that's a sort of kind of, I would say that's a more sort of mainstream thing to go and see at the festival. The other sort of big thing I'm looking forward to, which I've actually had a cheeky wee watch of on the industry portal, is Skin Deep, because I watched a series on Netflix called Cleo, which I absolutely adored. I couldn't get enough of it. And one of the actors in it, Dimitri Shad, has written and co-directed this film, which he also stars in as well. And I was so looking forward to it. And obviously I'm not giving anything away because it's embargoed, but it did not disappoint. And that's the thrill of these kind of festivals. You go in with maybe like a name that you recognise, or even just a theme that you think that might be quite good, I might enjoy that. And you just go in with absolutely no expectations. And that's my favourite thing, is getting surprised by, you know, whatever it is that you end up watching.
Yes, what I tend to do with festivals is I steer away from the ones that I know will probably get a wide release, either in cinema or on streaming services, because there's loads of other stuff that you will never be able to catch anywhere else. And it's quite funny because on Facebook, all the memories start popping up for previous entries that I've made for like sort of past festivals, and there was ones for films that I watched at the festival and I've never seen anywhere ever again, like a couple of Italian films from like 2015 that I watched about I think it was a jewellery heist, and it was a sort of comedy, and it was a brilliant film, and I thought, oh, that's really good and it's going to do really well, but never saw it anywhere ever again. It's bizarre.
So I don't know if we're talking about the same film, because actually there's an Italian film that the name of which completely is something to do with the number 5. It completely escapes me though, the full name of it. And I have been desperate to find a copy of this, you know, Blu-ray, DVD, whatever, somewhere, ever since I saw it at the film festival, because I went to see it up at the CCA, and it's like it's vanished off the face of the earth. I cannot find it. And it was so good. And it's such a shame that there's no like copies of it anywhere I can get a hold of.
Yeah, the one I saw was called I Can Quit Whenever I Want, and it was about a bunch of academics planning a robbery, and
that sounds incredible.
The hijinks that ensues. Yeah. Again, yeah, I know. I mean, I've never seen it anywhere else. I mean, but you forget, because, I mean, you're like me in the respect that you watch loads of films, so there's always something else to watch anyway. So if there's something that you can't get hold of, yeah, there's probably about 10 others on your list, or in your case, your notarized spreadsheet that you'll still have to watch.
Yeah, we will not mock the GFX23 spreadsheet, because
we
it's
don't
the only
mock
thing
any sort of organisation.
It's the only thing, so I know what cinema I'm turning, because obviously there's different locations for different films, so I know where I'm turning up, what time, and also I can work out then, because I have taken annual leave, when I can actually write my reviews up as well. And obviously, I mean, to live such a thrilling life like this is, you know, I know that our listener is going to be like, wow, she sounds really cool.
No, it's important. No, because like you say, it's not all just based in one location. I should have said there's sort of 3 main locations. There's the GFT Cinema in Rose Street, which has 3 screens, and they get fully utilised for the festival. The last 2-3 days, I think it is, of the festival, the main cinema is used exclusively for Fright Fest, I think.
Which is much fun. Yeah. It's so much fun at Fright. You know, everyone's in good spirits, they're having a wee beer, and they're sort of, you know, I don't want to say heckling the film, but sort of like joining in and clapping, whooping, and it's a really good experience. It's really nice. Yeah,
it's a different sort of vibe, isn't it, to sort of the normal fest. I mean, like I've said before, like when I was going to the Sitges Film Festival, it's that kind of vibe all the time, and it's because it's the same sort of crowd. It's a horror sort of fantasy crowd, and they like to get involved and like to appreciate films, but not in a disrespectful way, in a sort of disturbing things.
Yeah,
but,
it's all
just
genuine. It's
appreciating
all
it.
sort of, yeah. That's always good fun to take part in as well. And I think it's such a big draw because, again, a lot of sort of indie horrors don't really get to see the light of day. They maybe don't make it they don't even make it onto a platform like Shudder, for example, which obviously has lots of good indie. So it almost feels like just a really nice collective of people who are there just to enjoy that genre and just have a good time. It's good fun.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So in addition to the GFT itself, they are making use of Cineworld in Renfrew Street.
While it lasts.
While it lasts, yeah. While it's still open. They usually have maybe 2 or 3 screens in there, and they show various films. It's just sort of additional screenings, I think, really, for in there. Nice venue, obviously nice and clean. And the third main menu is the CCA, the Centre for Contemporary Arts, up on Sauchiehall Street, which has 2 screens, I think.
2 screens. Yeah, that's where I went to see that. So I've remembered the title of it. That's where I went to see that. 5 is the perfect number. However, I will say that if you can bring a cushion or something soft to sit on, it's a good idea. They're not the kindest of seats up there.
They do sometimes actually provide cushions for. There's the wee salon cinema on the ground floor, and then you go upstairs, which is the main cinema, and that's like a sort of multi-purpose area. There's seating at the front, and then it's one of these retractable bleacher type seats, and they're the ones that your legs go numb after about an hour and a half. It can be. It can be an interesting. The wee salon cinema is mental because there's only about 4 rows in that.
It's quite intense.
Seats.
Yeah, quite an intense viewing experience in there. I've seen a few films in there, and actually you do feel like all of a sudden you're very close to your neighbours, and there is only about 15 to 20 of you in the room. It does seem a bit strange, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Especially there's a sort of Q&A going on. You're no place to hide because they're looking for people to ask questions.
Oh yeah, you feel very obliged to put your hand up and go, I've got something,
So yes, in terms of the main sort of strand, the ones that I am looking forward to are Pearl, which is premiering. It's not really premiering, obviously, because it's been about in the States for months and months, but I think this is the first...
Literally about half a year.
Yeah, I think this is the first Scottish showing of it, just ahead of it getting released. I think it's coming into sort of cinemas about a week, maybe a week and a half after it gets shown. It's a film, Adopting Amy, which I managed to get a quick look at beforehand. Sorry, Adopting Audrey, about an adoption where older people adopt adult children to sort of fill a gap in their lives. And apparently it's based on a true story. Wow. And this is something that does actually happen. People are, they miss having families around, they miss having their children around, so they sort of adopt other adults who are willing to be adopted, and they sort of, it's like making friends with older people, So that was quite a nice wee story.
That sounds
I like
quite
that one.
Sweet. Yeah, that sounds really endearing.
Yeah. There's a French film called Tropic, which I've seen as well. I can recommend that. It's about 2 brothers who are in this sort of space academy set in France. They're going to be the next French astronauts or European astronauts until tragedy befalls them, and that's a really, really good film. It's quite a sort of powerful family drama, which you think is going to go one way, but then about halfway through the film it just kind of takes a real left turn and it changes completely. It's a wee bit, and there's a wee bit of sort of like body horror elements in it and all that, without being like totally full on. But that was excellent. The Cassius Clay documentary, that looks really good. Becoming Ali, which I thought, anything to do with Muhammad Ali, I'd quite like to watch. And obviously one of the ones that was on your list as well, God's Creatures.
Yes, that's the only film. Emily Watson. I mean, he's obviously hot property just now. That's the only film I'm going to see that's actually in GFT1. So I'm assuming that the rest that I've picked are obviously in smaller screens, maybe not quite as popular, but I think he's definitely hot property at the moment, isn't he? So obviously it's getting quite a big...
Yes. Yeah.
And obviously Emily Mortimer is coming up to do a Q&A premiere, all that sort of thing for it. So it's going to be quite busy.
Emily Watson, I think.
Watson. Oh, sorry. Beg your pardon.
Ah, sorry. No. There's loads of Emilys. Because she always gets...
And they all look quite similar.
Yeah. Because there's the one from the Harry Potter films as well, which she...
Emily. Ooh. Do you know what? This is when I admit that... Yeah, for the purposes of the tape, I've never read or watched a Harry Potter.
Yeah, no. We each have our blank spots, that's fair enough.
Yeah. So I can actually tell you.
Yeah, so those are the basic ones that I'm looking forward to in sort of the main strand, which I could have talked about maybe about 15 or 20 films. That's the problem. There are so many different types of films out there. But handily, what they also do is they have various strands as well. There's the Audience Award strand, which is generally about 10 films, I think it is. And basically, it's an audience award, an audience voted award. Yeah, I was right. It's 10 films. So there's all sorts of different ones in there, which some of them is obviously dramas. There's a few comedies in there as well. Skin Deep is one of those films, the one that you mentioned.
Oh, right. Okay, that's up for
the audience award, yeah.
Yeah.
And a few sort of wee quirky ones as well. There's a Spanish strand as well, sort of contemporary Spanish films. Yeah.
I'm going to see a few of those either on the portal or I'm going to see is it La Mencita, the new Penelope Cruz. So obviously had to do a little bit of Spanish representation in there, try out my new surname, see how that goes down.
Yep, absolutely. Yep, you have to be representing because you at this stage you're representing about half of Europe, I think, aren't you? You're Germanic and Spanish, and there's probably a bit of Irish in there as well, as well as Scottish.
Absolutely. And I've got a few Scandi films lined up to watch as well, because of course I'm obsessed with all this. This is what I spend my time doing on Netflix. We talk about all this good, cinema or the TV shows that are really captivating. I'm working my way through like really cheesy Scandi cop shows that probably came out in the early 2000s, but I just love watching them.
Yep, that's the way it goes. One strand that they have year on year is they have a classic strand. They show films at 10:30 in the morning, pretty much every day of the festival. They're free entry. It's in GFT1, the big cinema. Yeah. It's always good. There's always a wee talk from Alan, one of the co-chairs of the film festival. It's his last year, I believe, as well.
It is, yes.
He's moving on after this year. I don't think he's getting shot at the end of the festival or anything. I think he's actually just moving on. He's been doing it since like 2008.
It's not Midsummer. We're not going to make him jump off a cliff.
Yeah. There's not going to be a bear in the last day or anything. It turns out, So this year, the strand is named In the Driving Seat, and it's a retrospective screening of. Well, it's revolving around the theme of women taking charge and sent off to forge their own path. So you've got the likes of Bonnie and Clyde, which I've never seen on the big screen. You've got the classic It Happened One Night, which was one of the first films to win all of the major Oscars. There's Poirot Le Fou, there's Roman Holiday and Thelma and Louise. There's Piano, which, again, I don't think I've actually seen the Piano all the way through. I think I've seen half of it or something,
Do you know, bizarrely, I'm in the same boat because I have a feeling that we watched bits of it at uni, but not the whole. I've maybe seen about half of it. But honestly, the fact that these films are free and the nicest, cinema room within the GFT, I just think that's so incredible. And anyone that can get down, obviously, should get down and watch something really special.
Yeah, it's a nice way to start the day because they're all like an hour and a half, 2 hours sort of maximum. And then what I tend to do is I start my day with one of those films and plan the rest of the day around, that was finishing at 12:05, so I can get into GFT3 at 12:20 or whatever for the next one I want to see. So plan your whole day around the fact that you're going to be seeing one of these classic films. There's a few of them that I want to see. Some of them I have seen. I remember I've seen Thelma and Louise, and I've seen Widows. Have you seen Widows? That's really good. It's obviously quite recent, but it's a cracking movie. So there's a couple in there that I wouldn't mind seeing. I'd really like to see Bonnie and Clyde because that's obviously a classic movie.
That would be really cool.
Sort of the starting New Hollywood and all that sort of stuff. So it's pretty good. And like you say, you can't really go wrong, So apart from that, we've already mentioned Fright Fest. There's a strand about the documentary maker Lee Grant, who I know basically zilch about. I think it's like 5 of their films. Had an extraordinary career, blacklisted from the industry for 12 years, only to return when Best Supporting Actress Oscar, which
that's a nice 2 fingers up if you've been blacklisted.
I know, yeah. So it's 5 films in there, and they're all at cut down price of £6.50 each. to go and see them, which
Fantastic.
is very nice indeed, obviously. And there's another strand that I particularly want to try and get to see is the Gloria Graham strand.
Me too.
Which
Me too.
I liked a lot of her work because I like a lot of sort of film noir things, and she was in a few, showing two sort of big film noir ones, The Big Heat and In a Lonely Place. In a Lonely Place is a brilliant movie. I love that movie.
Imagine seeing that in the decadence of GFT1 though, or even just this is just going to be heaven.
But the main one I want to see from that strand is Vincent Minnelli's The Bad and the Beautiful, which is this
never seen that, so that
Oh, it's a cracking one. It's Kirk Douglas and Lana Turner and Dick Powell, as well as Gloria Graham in it. It's one of these sort of all-star casts. Have you never seen that one at all?
Never seen it. No, that's
it's like all these people. Kirk Douglas is a producer, and he's down in his luck, and he's trying to get these people to come and work for him. And it basically goes through the stories of all of these people and how he helped them get to where they are today and all this, you know. And it's cracking. It's really good. And Kirk Douglas top form. It's a really, really good movie. It's one that I would watch time and again. That's on Monday at 1:00. So that's a definite for me. I'm definitely going to be in town for that. And
that's going to be so good.
Various other ones. What they've started, like we said, they're back to sort of full service this year, and one of the things that the Glasgow Film Festival does really well is their special events.
Yes.
So in the past, it's been, I believe you went to see The Thing down at the
in the snow. That was incredible. It was so good. I was freezing, but it made the fit. Like, honestly, you were sitting there going, is the snow moving? Is there something like you were genuinely looking around going, what is going on? It's their event cinema is incredible. It's so worth going to see because it really elevates the film from just watching it again in the big screen, which is a treat in itself, to you know, you're sitting in the snow.
Yeah. So in this one, they are showing the 60th anniversary print of The Birds. Now, I think that's just in GFT1.
I don't think very nervous.
I don't think they're going to introduce crows halfway through the film or anything, but I think that would be a good one to see anyway, just because Hitchcock on the big screen, let's face it, you know. Yeah. It's a nice wee companion piece to the Mark Cousins documentary.
Exactly. Yeah. Provided that we all make it out scratch-free.
Yes, yeah. There's a showing of Under the Skin with a live orchestra as well, which was announced well in the I don't think so. I'm just give me a second. I will tell you where that is. It's completely sold out no matter where it is anyway.
Yeah.
It's at the Queen Margaret Union.
Nice.
So it's a really good. It's a nice big venue. Obviously, if you're going to be projecting and have an orchestra at the same time, it's the same sort of idea. There's another venue in Glasgow, City Halls. They sometimes show old films and have a live orchestra as well. That's really good. And there's. So I Married an Axe Murderer as well. They're showing that comedy venue, and I love that film. Obviously, it's got its Scottish connections with the Mike Myers character. His family's all Scottish, and you know, it's bagpipe playing, you know, playing the bagpipes and singing "Do You Think I'm Sexy" and all that, and Piper Doon and all this sort of stuff. It's a cracking film. It's really, really good. So that'll be an interesting as well. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, speaking of like weird Scottish accents, so again, not giving much away, I watched this Miss Viborg yesterday, which a Danish sort of comedy drama, which I really recommend, but halfway through and it really caught me by surprise, and this is why I had to actually pause the film because I was laughing so much at it. Obviously, this like Danish truck driver just gets up at a wee karaoke bar in the middle of nowhere and belts out the Proclaimers 500 miles. It was hysterical. And then he said haver instead of haver, which really set me off because obviously haver is a very, very Scottish word. And unless you know what it is, then it was brilliant. Thick Danish accent, singing away. And I was like, this is the best thing I have ever seen.
Excellent. Nice one. Yeah, it's always nice to hear interpretations of various Scottish accents on screen. I'm up for that. And I like that, yeah.
I wondered if that's what made them pick it for the festival, because that's quite it sort of turns the rest of the film kind of on its head, and I just wondered if that's why they picked it. But if you can get to see Miss Viborg, highly recommend because it is very good. But it just the I had images of everyone else, if you saw it in the cinema, everyone else feeling compelled to sing along, because it is one of those earworm kind of songs where no matter who's singing it, you want to join in.
Well, just to make me feel particularly old, the reason they're showing So I Married an Axe Murderer is because it's 30 years old.
No, it can't possibly be. No.
Yep. Sorry. Yep. So that's the reason for that. So, and there's one line in that film. He has to try and get to see his girlfriend, who's really sort of far away. So he gets on this wee light aircraft with Stephen Wright, the comedian.
Mm-hmm.
And he says, what time are we going to get there? And Stephen Wright says, I don't know. I have no concept of time. And it just cracks me up every single time when I hear that. And it's one of these ones that you use sort of in an offhand way when somebody says, what's the time? And you just say, I'm sorry, I've got no concept of time. And they either get it or they don't. It's one of those ones, you know. And if they get it, then you've just made a new friend, you know.
I was going to say, you can be friends. Yeah, exactly. Oh, that's so good. I love stuff like that. I love it.
Pass the test.
So where has that been shown, sorry? So I Married an Axe Murderer?
It was at a comedy venue. They're saying they were going to be doing that. So I believe they said it was going to be the Glee Club.
I don't know where that is.
That's what it said. Yeah. It says, go over to the Glee Club for an evening of poetry, order a large cup. Oh, no, so the Glee Club is, I think that might be the one beside Cineworld. There's a comedy venue there.
Oh, it used to be Jongleurs. It used to be
be
small door that you go in and just
it's massive. It's a really sort of big. I've been in it when it was Jongleurs, so it's in there. So that'll
be excellent. Yeah.
Really so there'll definitely be some movie related stuff going on with that as well. So that'll be pretty good. So that's pretty much it. 10 days packed full of movie madness. Basically, there's something for everybody. You don't need to be a complete miserabilist like me to enjoy things. There are comedies, there's stuff. The thing about film festivals is it's something that you can go and you can take a chance on. You know, it's something that you wouldn't normally watch.
Yeah. That really
you're not going to lose anything. You know, there's nothing to lose, and especially with the way that the sort of normal tickets are about $11.50, I think it is, but you can get deals where you can buy them in batches of 5, 10, that kind of thing, and you're saving yourself maybe £15 or so. There's various options. You can find all the information with regards to the festival at glasgowfilm.org. That would take you to the main site, and there's links there to take you onto the festival site where it gives you information about the times for all of the films, all the background, and some of the other things that are going as well. Obviously, you can get updates. They regularly post on the various socials about various guests and things. There's going to be a number of people, like you mentioned earlier on. There's going to be loads of filmmakers in town as well to promote their forthcoming movies and everything. So there'll be a lot of buzz, which is always nice, and a few sort of red carpet moments as well, which it's always interesting in February because it can be snowing or it can be sunshine. You just never know with these things.
And the last festival I was at was snow, because I remember actually showing up in my Facebook memories today that I think it was 2020. Yeah, it was 2020. Apparently 3 years ago, I was obviously sitting watching My Friend Dahmer, but I remember it snowed that night. Which is one of these weird memories that pops up in my head. But so you never know in Glasgow whether or not it's going to be jacket weather or you can strut the red carpet in your nice dress.
Yeah, because one came up in mine. It was for the Big Lebowski. They showed that down at Glasgow Quay, down at the Odeon there. And it was, but you had a bowling night before it. The Bolorama place beside it, and they were serving White Russians and stuff like that. And I remember that because obviously it was a really good event cinema, but there was all these sort of storm warnings, and the next day, basically the heavens opened and it snowed everywhere and everything was cancelled. All the films were cancelled at the film festival and all that. You know, it's the first time it's the first and last time it's happened, I think, during the sort of history of the festival. But just everything ground to a halt for about 4 or 5 days, and they had to refund tickets and all sorts of stuff. Oh, it was just unbelievable. And I was annoyed because obviously I'd booked time off work and then I was stuck at home. Whereas I would be stuck at home anyway if I'd been working.
I know. Exactly.
That's the way of it. So I am definitely looking forward to the festival. I'm pleased that it's getting back to normal, and it's a nice buzz in the town as well. And these venues are just fantastic. I really like the GFT as a venue, and I'm really looking forward to going to see some quality stuff, and I assume you are as well then.
Yeah, obviously I'd like to just say thank you to the press team who, as always, have been incredibly gracious with my many stupid inquiries and have been excellent at keeping you up to date with what's coming out, loads of press releases, making it super easy to sign up for press tickets and the portal and all that sort of thing. So huge thank you to the press team. And yeah, I'm really excited to see, you know, people milling around the GFT, people getting excited. I love just even standing in the little cafe bar bit at the GFT and hearing everyone talk about film and being excited about it, because it really feels like you're part of something. So yeah, bring it on. I can't wait.
What about interviews? Has there been anything from them about the possibility of meeting filmmakers or anything like that? Because there's always people
I think
talk about their wares.
So they're based, they've changed where they're based this year. They're based, do you know how we're, it was near like, no, in fact, no, that's not. It's on a corner in Sucky Hall Street. It's a sort of arts kind of event space. The sort of set up camp there, as opposed to they've done the Hilton the past few years.
Citizen M. They were in Citizen M for
a
few
yeah,
years.
So they were in there as well. So they've set up sort of camp in a sort of event space, and I think a lot of like interviews and stuff like that is potentially either going on there or in sort of other various locations around the city. I'd need to take a look. I'm going in to pick up my press badge on Wednesday or Thursday of next week, so I'll go in and take a wee look and see what's going on there. But I know there's obviously definitely stuff going on.
Yeah, cool. Yeah, it's always good. There's like, especially at festivals, there's always people wanting to talk, you know.
Yeah.
Like,
did you not get a few people last year?
It was the year before, yeah, I had a couple of people, which is always nice. Yeah, I think it was maybe about 3 or 4. There was an Icelandic film that I covered and a Canadian, Jonas Chernick.
Yeah.
So I spoke to him for the first time during the festival and stuff. Yeah, it's interesting, but it's nice when you're away. Like I think you're right. The interviews were at the Hilton, and they were just out in the sort of main lobby, so it was really noisy, and I was trying to record things. Whereas I spoke to another filmmaker in the room.
Oh, nice!
Where you could actually go, so it was dead quiet, and I was able to just record it on my iPhone. And it turned out really well. It was really clear and everything, but you just need that wee bit of silence in the background, you know, rather than waiters walking past you, clanking dishes and all sorts of stuff, that kind of thing, you know. And maybe some wee background music and all that as well that I had to try and filter it. It was always fun. But yeah, these things are always, it gets you in touch with other people and things like that. And, you know, a wee bit extra content, a wee bit extra background to some of the stuff that you're watching and all that as well. So yeah, it's all good. So, yeah. Anything else you would like to add about it?
No, I'm just, as I say, I'm really looking forward to it. I've had annual leave that I've saved up, so I now have 6 glorious days off, and I'm so excited. And I'm just, honestly, Glasgow City Centre is not ready for me.
Nice. Just remember and take glucose and sweeties and stuff just to keep yourself going, you know. But ration the amount of water you take.
It feels like a marathon when you actually look at all the stuff that you want to watch. You're like, how am I ever going to cram this in and get all the reviews done? But you just do it, don't you? Because you're just so excited to be there. I think especially because with news about Edinburgh Film Festival and things like that this almost feels kind of more special this year, I think.
Yeah, it's an opportunity for them to show that they can take up the mantle of the biggest film festival in Scotland. So yeah, it'll be good to see how it comes off. I from the outside, from what I've seen so far, it looks as organised as ever. They always do really well in terms of all the flyers and everything they put out there and the publicity for it and the talent they attract. So yes, definitely looking forward to it. I'm a bit like yourself. I'm going to miss the first couple of days. I'll watch some of the stuff on the portal, and then I'll be in Glasgow next week, try and catch as many over the course of about 5 or 6 days as I possibly can. And I'm quite good at that sort of thing. I can plan it out, so I can watch 4 films, 5 films in a day. I think the most I've ever done 6, but that was exceptional circumstances, and the films were all under 2 hours. So that is
honestly, like, that is the niftiest thing ever. Like, and also the fact that you can just plan that spontaneously in your head, whereas I literally can't function without a spreadsheet in hand to go, this is where I'm supposed to be, this is where I'm going next. So that's brilliant. 6 films in a day.
Aye, well, it's not recommended, because see, at the end of it, your brain's knackered, and then you've got 6 films that I've scribbled down notes of in the dark. So there's a case of trying to decipher 6 lots of notes where I'm saying, did somebody vomit in this page? What is this? This is nonsense, you know. So yeah, you try and just do a sort of brain dump as quickly as possible after that to actually get decent notes. That's one of the fun parts of it as well, I suppose. But yeah,
exactly.
It's all good. So on the site, we will be covering the film festival. Like Mary noted earlier, we've got access to the portal with all the screeners, which doesn't cover everything on the festival, but covers a fair amount of it, to be perfectly honest.
I'm surprised at the amount that's on, given that this is an in-person one as well, whereas obviously last year before is obviously definitely more sort of digital. I'm surprised at the sheer amount that's on the portal. So again, really grateful obviously for that.
I think that's down to the fact that they're getting coverage sort of further afield. People who don't actually necessarily need to attend the festival in person, but can potentially cover 30 films at the festival and do write-ups of them. So it's exposure for it without people what it's like when you're having to travel. It's prohibitively expensive to go to like the London Film Festival or whatever, unless you've got sort of connections, people you can stay with, that kind of thing, because otherwise you're literally talking thousands of pounds to, go down to a festival for a week and a half, It's like somewhere like London or even Manchester. I know other places in the UK do it, like Newcastle and all that. But again, it's an expensive business. So if you can do that from the comfort of your own home or whatever and write up, promote the festival.
I was going to say also it's great coverage because if you do have, film critics from, outside the UK or even inside the UK or whatever, and they're all promoting and talk about the great content that they saw at Glasgow Film Festival, I mean, as far as I'm concerned, that can only be a good thing. Yeah,
I know during the pandemic, London did that. They had an awful lot of stuff online, but they've scaled that right back. I think it was last year they did it. Or maybe the year before, I can't remember, but they did it for like 2 years. They introduced it. It's the same people who run this, Shift 72, I think it is, isn't it, that run the portal, where they were doing it for London as well. But in the first year, there was loads of stuff, loads of different things, but they really scaled it back in the second year, and it was...
That's a shame.
...more documentaries, and there wasn't as many of the sort of the more popular films, which I couldn't really understand why they were doing it, because... it's all press stuff. I know they want press to actually be there, but then the other side of that is there's only so many press passes that they're going to give out for a festival screening because they're wanting people to actually attend, actual ticket buyers, because they don't make anything when somebody from the press attends. So, but then again, it probably costs quite a lot to run these portals as well. And there's the additional cost of getting the rights to show a film for even 2-3 days. For a festival, so that's probably additional costs and all that as well. So, I don't know. I like the hybrid model. I really do. I think
me too. I think it gives you the benefit of, if you maybe can't, so for example, like obviously us, we're a small site, we're covering it. So maybe if you can't get like annual leave or whatever, you've still got access to the portal. You can nip in at evenings or weekends. And even again, so it all comes down to that flexibility, doesn't it? You can watch it whenever you want. You don't have to be in a cinema at a set time and a set day. You can still catch up with it on the portal. And the films are on the portal for, I think, 72 hours. So you've got ample opportunity to catch them while they're there as well. So it's really
definitely. You can suit yourself with it. It's just quite handy. I remember the London one, you had maybe about 6 hours or something to watch a film. So you really had to basically sit and watch it as if you were at a festival. You watch it one after the other. And you're talking like starting at like 8 o'clock in the morning sometimes. So, but at least, you didn't need to get changed out your jammies. You could still be sitting there wearing your Wallace and Gromit slippers and your jammies and all day, like a normal work day.
Big fan of the thought of you in some Wallace and Gromit pajamas. So thanks for that.
Yeah. That's for the OnlyFans page. Which I'm still developing, obviously.
You're just taking your time to do some research, work out what's on the platform, what's working, what's not working, and just sort of tailor it to your audience.
Yeah, best how to shave my body hair and all that sort of stuff. You have to experiment with these things before you go live. Do I do stripes? Do I do hoops?
That is you've lost me now. Like, that's it. I've corpsed for the rest of this pod at the thought of you doing 40-year-old virgin little wax marks on your chest.
Nice one. So, dear listener, that is us done with our preview of the Glasgow Film Festival. Like I say, it starts on the 1st of the month, which by the time this pod goes out will probably be tomorrow. I'm planning to get it tomorrow. So we have been off air for a wee while now, and that's largely down to myself. So we will be getting everybody back in. We'll get Thomas back online with his forthright views on movies, hopefully very soon. We'll get the full band back together and get more regular content out there for you lovely people. But from myself, thank you very much. Try and catch some stuff at the Glasgow Film Festival if possible. If you like what you hear from ourselves, obviously get in touch with us. We are on most of the social media channels at Moviescramble. You can send us an email at podcast@moviescramble.co.uk, but I don't know how you'd bother because nobody has so far. Even this joke is getting tired about the fact that nobody sends emails. It's ridiculous. But yeah, we would love to hear from you if you've got something you want to talk about. If any ideas for anything you think might be a good fit for us as well, we're always open to that. So please get in touch with us, let us know. And basically, thanks for listening anyway, because we do appreciate it. And if you do have the time, go on and give us a rating on the podcast app of your choice, like maybe a wee 5-star review of us on iTunes helps because it pushes us up the rankings and gets us more people listening to us, which in turn spurs us on to try and do more stuff and actually try to do half decent stuff as well. So, there's a bonus for everybody involved. So if you like us, then we will get better. Okay. Right, so cheerio, everybody.
Yep. And if you see us at the Glasgow Film Festival, do come and say hello. John is tall and handsome, and I am short and will probably be wearing my glasses because I can't see anything. So come and say hello to us if you do see us. And just hopefully look out for our coverage on the site and have a good festival, everyone.
Cool. Bye.